Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. Azim and Dalton Smith. There's been a lot of talk about this fight and why it's not happening next. Right, we all want to see 50-50 fights. We want to see young prospects fight each other. But let's not pretend that boxing isn't a business. This kind of things happens all the time, right? Azim's team is not going to dance to the tune of Eddie Hearn, just like Eddie Hearn isn't going to dance to the tune of any other promoter, right? Eddie Hearn, throughout his promotional career, has not made fights for his prospects at certain times of their careers due to politics, age or experience. Many times. He's done this many times, right? So the idea that this has never happened before is just a load of nonsense. There's a lot of people coming out who aren't even attached to either fighter, who are screaming and shouting and who know the game. But the reality is, if the shoe was on the other foot, they would be doing exactly the same thing. Azim is 21. Dalton Smith is 27. Dalton Smith has just competed at world level. He's got his man strength. He is in the prime of his career. Right, he's a bull, right? It's the right timing for him to fight Azim now, whilst he's 21. Now, if you don't think 21 is a young age in boxing, and it doesn't have an impact in this fight, then you're being a bit naive. Sometimes it can take years to get your man strength. Some fighters don't get the man strength till 23, 24, 25, 21 years of age. You're still developing. It's insanity to put you in a 50-50 fight against another dangerous prospect who's just proved he's world level. At this time, you have to guide your fighter. You have to guide his career correctly. It's not about earning a quick buck. Yes, they could make money, right? But that's just short-sighted. Azim is an exceptional talent, right? They believe this guy is going to win world belts, could be an undisputed world champion. That's what they think of this guy. But that doesn't mean they have to put him in a 50-50 fight at 21 years of age, right? Yes, we want to see it. But this has happened many times in boxing before, where certain promoters don't make fights for their fighters because it's not been the right time. Boxing is about timing. And the comments I've heard Eddie Hearn come out with, he knows better. He's just coming out promoting because that's what Eddie does. He's a good promoter. He knows what people are going to talk about, right? I watched his in-house interview with Matchroom. Well, I didn't watch all of it. I watched a few clips, and he said, well, they're going on about age. Dalton is 27, but Harlem Eubank's 30. But Eddie Hearn knows so much better than that, right? Come on, you can't compare a 27-year-old Dalton Smith who had a great amateur career, who's just proved he's world level, to Harlem Eubank, who didn't have an extensive amateur career, who's not fought at world level, right? Who's never been touted as a potential world champion, right? Yes, he's improved and he's a good fighter, but it's never been Harlem Eubank's, we believe in him, he's going to be a world champion. It's not been like that, so you can't compare the two, right? Age plays a factor when you look at the experience as well. Now, you can look at the fights, have similar records and all that, but Dalton has just proved he's world level. He's just beat Jose Cepeda, who's only lost at world level, right? So he is now looking at fighters at world level. If they're that bothered about a European bout, it's vacated. Go and fight for it. They're not going to because they don't want to go back down the levels. So why does Eddie Hearn want his fighter to go down the levels to fight Azim? I'll tell you why. Because it's a big fight and it's the right timing for their man. It's not the right timing for boxer and Azim. He's 21 years of age. You can see he is still developing. He has not got his man strength, right? Yes, he's talking about the big names and he wants to be a world champion quickly. Okay, fighters are going to say that. But that's why you have a team, to pull you back in and to guide your career correctly. They're not going to listen because Eddie Hearn's waffling and shouting at every on every interview going. They're not going to. Some of these interviews should say to Eddie, well, hold on a sec, you've done this at this time for your fight and you did this at that time. It's the same kind of scenario. Granted, they might not have given up a European belt like Azim has just done, but who cares? European level's a good level, but this is not a world title where if you're a world champion, you have to defend against the most dangerous contenders available. You shouldn't get to pick and choose, right? European level is a platform to go to bigger things. When you're a prospect, right, you can win a British title, Commonwealth title, then you go to European level, and then you go to world level. You're maturing. Some fighters get to European level, and that's their level. That's like winning a world title for them, and it is a great level, European level. But it doesn't mean, because you're a European champion, you have to be in 50-50 fights. I hear a lot of fans saying you should defend your belt. It's a European belt. They're not going to put him in, potentially, on another broadcaster against one of the best prospects in the country. They're not going to do that. Right? And I understand people's frustrations, I do, but let's not pretend it's not happened before. It happens all the time in boxing. Most people can see that this is not the right timing for Azim, but it's the right timing for Dalton Smith. And the people coming out hammering Boxer all the time. Now look, I don't have any affiliation to Boxer, to Matchroom. I've never met Eddie Hearn, I've never met Ben Shalom, right? So I'm impartial, I can just give my opinion, right? And for me, the amount of stick Ben Shalom gets is uncalled for. Is he perfect? No. He started his promotional journey at, what, 27? I'm not being funny. What age did Eddie, Frank, Bob, and all these, and Oscar and all these great fighters, when did they start promoting fighters? I don't think it was 27. Right? I'm not sure about Frank, but I know the others. It wasn't 27. Right? So yes, he's learning on the job. Eddie Hearn left Sky Sports with absolutely nothing. No fighters, nothing. He left because he got a better deal with a different broadcaster. And that's fine. Right? Some people can say, where's the loyalty? You know? But we know that saying, if you want loyalty, get a dog, especially in boxing. And I don't blame Eddie for that. He went where the money is, like all of us would do. But Sky Sports was left in the position with no fighters. So they had to rebuild quickly. Ben Shalom was there. Right timing. Okay, fine. Right? He was fortunate that there wasn't many, at that time, there wasn't many other people to compete with him. Right? But they took a chance with him. And I think he's done okay. Okay, he's going to make mistakes. Right? He's also got a lot of young prospects. That takes time. You know, they're not going to be in world championship fights in day one. Ben Whittaker's not. Azim's not. Caroline Dubois' not. You have to build your stable. Right? But the problem is Sky Sports is the gold standard of boxing platform, and we want the big fights on that platform. We do, because there's nothing better than when Sky Sports shows an appetite for boxing. Right? But the stick that Shalom gets, I just don't understand it. It wasn't so long ago that Eddie Hearn was stating to every interviewer that top rank, golden boy, Queensberry, they don't want to work with me, they're free, they don't like me, you know, they tried to freeze Eddie out. Let's get it right. And Eddie was saying, we're going to make noise, we're going to disrupt things, we're going to keep making noise, but, you know, we want to work with them, but They won't work with me. And why are they talking about me at every opportunity? That's what you'd say. You'd say, what is wrong? Go and talk about your own stable. Why do you have to talk about me all the time? Eddie Hearn is doing the same to Boxer, what they were doing to him. Right? And that's boxing. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Clearly there's personal issues going on. Right? We can all see that. Right? It could be fighters leaving Matchroom to go to Boxer, or Boxer leaving Boxer to go to Matchroom. It could be comments Ben's made about Eddie's fighters. I don't know, right? But there's clearly an issue going on, because at every opportunity, Eddie Hearn is looking to hammer Boxer. Why do you care about a bloke who's 29? Right? You've been promoting for 10 years. You know, you're at the top of the game. To consistently hammer this bloke all the time, for me, it's a bit like, come on, like, we can all see it, like, you know. And look, it's all competitive. I get it. I understand it. Eddie's a fantastic promoter, but Ben is a good promoter. He's no mug. You don't get to where he is if you've got nothing about you. Is he the best talker in the world? No. Is he going to do an interview and make it all about himself for an hour? No. Right? Is he going to do interview after interview? No. Right? So we want different personalities. But the stick and the constant stick that he gets, let's just break it down. Right? Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. Boxer and Ben got absolutely hammered. So did Fraser Clark for pulling out of the purse bids. Right? The decision was ultimately correct because the year later, right, or 10 months later, Boxer promoted that show to a massive audience. It did good numbers. It was one of the fights of the years, and they promoted the show. So that decision was right for Boxer. It wasn't right for Eddie Hearn because he didn't have any involvement in it. Fabio Wardley decided that he was going to be a free agent. He wasn't going to go under Eddie's promotional banner and decided to negotiate with Boxer, right? Clearly, that would have been a conversation that they had before Ben Shalom pulled Fraser Clark out of those negotiations. They're not stupid. They don't just willy-nilly make things up. Clearly, Fabio would have given an indication that, okay, I'm open to talk, I'm a free agent, I'm not tied down to anyone. So Eddie didn't like that because he didn't promote the show. He was talking about putting it on Portman Road, Ipswich Stadium, he was going to put a big event on. But Boxer was proved correct because they ended up promoting the show on Sky Sports, home broadcaster for their fighter, and their fighter got more experience. If that fight would have happened last year, Fraser Clark may not have lasted 12 rounds. He was absolutely shattered at the end of that fight. He got 10 rounds in against Marius Vac. They were golden. If he never got those 10 rounds in, he could have lost just on fitness. Right? So they did at that time what was best for their man, not what was best for Eddie Hearn's bank account, right? And this stick Fraser got and Boxer got, but I don't hear people coming out saying, you know what? They actually made the right decision then. It was the right decision. Eddie's talked about other fights, Richard Riakporhe and Jai Apataya, right? If you're Richard Riakporhe's team, why are you going to fight Jai Apataya for not much money? He's an absolute killer. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world, but he's not a household name, right? He's a dangerous fight. You're going to lose the fight. Why are you going to fight him for a world title when you could potentially fight Chris Billam-Smith in a stadium in Bournemouth, right? Or you can fight him at a sold-out stadium in London, a sold-out arena in London, right? And you're the favourite for that fight. So clearly, for their man, it makes sense. It's an in-house promotion, right? Do you understand what I mean? They can fight. He can unify against Apataya if he beats Smith. But at that time, it wasn't the right time for their man, right? Azim and Dalton Smith, it's not the right time for Azim at this time. Caroline Dubois and Beatrice Ferreras. That's how you say your name. Yeah, we want to see that fight. But Rihanna Dixon's a good fighter. She never fought Dubois because I don't think it was the right timing for her. So it's about timing. Boxing is about timing. I've heard people say, well, look at George Groves and James DeGale. They fought. James DeGale was 25. George Groves was 23. They hadn't really fought at world level at that point, right? 23 and 25 to 21 is a big difference in boxing depending on your stature. Not everyone is Mike Tyson. You're going to be a beast at 18. Azim has a different body to Dalton Smith. What was Dalton doing at 21? He wasn't European champion. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Dalton, by the way. This is not aimed at Dalton. He just wants to fight. I just think there's a lot of shouting going on. And to hammer Azim, he's 21, he's a great prospect. He doesn't go out drinking, he's not falling out of nightclubs. I think he's a good example as a fighter to young kids. And I think he's going to be a world champion. And this fight against Dalton Smith is going to be a bigger fight in a year's time, 18 months' time, or 2 years' time, right? It's going to be a bigger fight and the fighters are going to earn more money. And at the end of the day, it's the fighters who are taking the punches. A certain promoter might want it now because it's good money for him, but at the end of the day, they're going to make even more money. I believe that this will be the right call from Ben Shalom not to make the fight now, right? If you ask most people in boxing who aren't affiliated to a certain side or haven't got beef to a certain trainer or a certain promoter or whatever it is, they'll say, yeah, it's probably not the right timing for Azim. It's easy for fans to listen to Eddie and say, yeah, he's right, he's ducking Dalton, he's scared of Dalton. Azim is not scared of Dalton Smith, right? They're not. No fighters are scared of any fighters. Right? They're not scared. They're fighters. They are built differently, but they have a team around them to guide them in the best possible way and to have their best interest at heart. Not the other promoter, not the fans, the fighter. When you're at world level and fans have supported you throughout the journey and they've paid a lot of money to watch you fight throughout the years, that's a different story. But Azim is just coming through. He's a baby, right? Yes, he's a talented baby, but he's still a baby in terms of boxing. I heard Eddie say that we're working with Queensberry now. Look at the fights that's happening. We're all working together. And it's like, mate, come on. You wouldn't be working with Queensberry if it wasn't for Saudi money. How many years did it take you to work with them? My God, it took you years and years and years and years. You never spoke to Frank for 12 years of your promotional career. It's laughable. And now you're saying, well, we're working with Queensberry now. Yes, you're working with him because you've got Saudi money. If it wasn't for Saudi money, you wouldn't be working with them. Unbelievable. But that's Eddie for you. He's a promoter, right? He gets people talking and he's good at it. But you have to have people in the media to say, look, this is to give their opinions, because it'd be easy for me to follow the crowd and go, boxers are bad, they're terrible, they're ducking, look at this, they're ducking fights, when that's not the reality of the situation. Everything in life has context, right? And Ben Shalom is doing to his fighter what Eddie Hearn has done many times in the past, which has made the right fights at the right time. That is why he's one of the best in the world, Eddie. This fight is now maturing into a big, big fight, and we want to see it, and we will see it, but it's all about timing. Right, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree with what I'm saying? Do you think Azim and Dalton Smith should fight next? Like, comment, subscribe, let me know.